What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. We have been on quite the darn heater when it comes to playing live poker recently as of late. We'll see how this goes, man. I'm still expecting myself to lose today. Like, there's no way that we can continue on this. My charts on my poker income graph for August has been absolutely insane. The biggest uptick ever. So we'll see how today goes. I think I'm going to jinx myself at least. We should lose. All right, all I'm saying is that we should definitely lose today. But we'll find out. All thanks to that nice metal coin protector card. I keep saying metal coin card protector. That thing has given me the most ridiculous run good ever. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like on this one. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, all that fun stuff. Comment below if you want to get one of those Rampage Poker chips and that whole little package. Give one out to a random commenter every single video, so definitely do that. And with that said, let's see if we can keep running it up. Off to 1-3 we go, and the very first thing to get dealt in, we're under the gun with Jack 10 suited. Here, definitely going to be opening, so I sized to $12. The button and small blind both make the call. Let's go to a flop 3 ways, in which is just a nice welcome to the table. King, Queen, 9, 2 hearts out there. My goodness, what an absolute start. Action checks to me, and definitely going to be c-betting here, flopping the nuts and the redraw to the straight flush. I c-bet $25, and only the button makes the call. Going to a turn, let's just see if we can actually somehow improve. Turn comes the 5 of diamonds, brings in the backdoor flush draw, and still with the nuts, let's definitely try to get more money in there. I bet $60 with the intention of just jamming it in with any river. Unfortunately, he thinks about it and folds, so yeah, still, welcome to the table. What a beautiful start. Next, ace-6 of clubs in +1. We're playing 5-handed here, and the under the gun player opens it up to $10. Here, this hand definitely plays better heads up and as a 3-bet, so in position here, I decided to 3-bet the under the gun player to $35. It folds all the way back around, and he makes the call. Didn't really expect him to fold too much since he should have a tighter range, but let's go to a flop, which comes Jack 4 deuce 2 spades. He checks to us, and here, this really is not the board we're looking for. Although super dry, we can definitely take a stab at it and just continue and probably fold, but so we check it, and the turn comes the Queen of clubs. He now throws out a bet of $45. Betting on this card here is pretty interesting, as I think this hand should be hitting my range a lot more than his. I think the sizing is a little bit interesting here, where I think it's a little bit more than half pot. He could definitely bet a lot of Jack X holdings, something like Jack 10, maybe some sort of weak queen. Obviously, the spade draw is there, so I just float with ace high, intending on bluffing this river. The river is the 8 of clubs, so the spades do miss, but the board a little bit more connected as 10-9 does get there. He now fires a bet of $110. I think his range right here falls into either a 1-pair holding or a hand that missed his draws. So with that said, I think I put a lot of his 1-pair holdings to the test and put him in a pretty horrible spot. The only hands that I really get snap called by are Queen Jack and also 10-9 for the nut straight. But here, aiming to put his 1-pair holdings in a terrible spot, even hands like King Queen would be feeling pretty gross about it. So I go for the raise to $350. A little bit of an awkward sizing since he does leave about $105 behind in my stack. Anyways, he goes well into the tank and ends up laying it down. Let's go. We show our hand because it's a friendly table, and you know, when you bluff, sometimes you just have to show it for fun. It's good for the table. Following that, we pick up King Jack offsuit, under the gun playing 6-handed. A little bit wide here, but I decided to raise things up to $12. And we get some action as 3 players make the call, and we're going 4 ways to a flop. The flop is not too bad. It's King 5-6 2 spades. Top pair, okay kicker on a very draw heavy board. Action checks to me, and certainly going to c-bet just a little bit with top pair. Deny some equity from other holdings that are drawing. I c-bet $25, and we get the player to my left to make the call, and the small blind makes the call as well. Off to a turn 3 ways, which comes a 4. Small blind checks to me, and here, when I get 2 players to call, it's a little bit suspect since my jack is a little bit weak of a kicker. Still, we're playing 1-3 here, and I think I just have to go for some thin value. with top pair here, although I think it's a little borderline and a little ambitious. Regardless, I bet $65. The player to my left makes the call for 65. I don't necessarily love it, but here we are. Then the small blind takes his whole stack and rips it all in for $124 total. This isn't enough to reopen the action, but still, I feel like I am in quite the horrible spot. The player to my left has a pretty large stack. I think he covers us, and here, my initial thoughts are to fold. Although it's only $60 more, it's really hard for King Jack to ever be good here on this board that's super connected, lose to a lot of two-pair combos, and can still lose to flush draws as well. But regardless, it's $60 more, and I justify it by just simply that. It's only 60 more, and we already put 65 in there. Yeah, this is a pretty terrible call in my opinion, but I still put it in there. Also, the player on my left makes the call as well, so we're going 3 ways to a dry side pot. The river comes another 4, which is actually a pretty good card, since now I beat 5-6 for counterfeited 2-pair. Here, dry side pot, top pair, I guess we can just try to go for some very slim value, since we've already made it this far. I bet $75, he folds, small blind shows 7-3 off for a straight. Yep. Just had to showcase this one. We triple up the small blind, and this was a little bit of a punt. The turn definitely plays best as a check, but regardless, I think I threw away an extra $60 there calling the jam. Later on the session, we look down at pocket kings in the big blind. Let's freaking go. An early position player opens it up to $15. There are 2 callers to me, and here, out of position, certainly going for a 3-bet. This is perfect as well because I have been 3-betting a ton in this session so far. So I squeezed to $70, a little bit larger since there are 3 players interested and we're out of position. Surprisingly, the pre-flop laser folds and only the button makes the call, which is interesting. But we're going to a flop, which comes ace, 3, deuce, 2 spades. Of course, there's always that dirty ace that's got to be out there when we have kings. Still, I think we just have to bet and protect our range, so I go for a small bet of $55. He folds pretty quickly, and we take this one down. Ace 4 of diamonds is the next hand that we get into. We're on the button, and there's an under the gun limp. It folds to me, and definitely going to be raising it up here in position. So I raised to $15. Surprisingly, the player to my left in the small blind now 3-bets to $35. He folds back to me, and I play with him a little bit. He seems a little aggressive, but I've seen him flat pre-flop with pocket jacks before, so I'm confused why he would go for such a small 3-bet, but here we are. I guess we're going to be making the call with a pretty good price. Flop comes jack, deuce, 7, 2 diamonds. Sweet. We do have the nut flush draw, certainly going for it. He leads out for $50, and yeah, I think we're just going to have to call with our over and nut flush draw. We call the 50, and we're off to a turn. Turn comes the jack of clubs. Really not great as the board is paired now. Very unlikely it has a jack, but I'm still putting him on some sort of premium holding like an overpair. He fires again for $50, and I'm thinking potentially he does have an overpair. Could be betting small just to charge some money for draws like the hands that I have, but also potentially afraid of trip jacks. Thinking about raising here to rep the jack, but regardless, given a really great price to continue with our flush draw, I just call the 50. The river comes the 10 of spades. We've bricked out totally, and now he leads out for $225. We have a clear-cut fold, but I'm just a little curious what kind of hands he could have there. Betting this large on the river here, it smells like, I guess, pocket 10s could certainly play this way. I don't really see an overpair betting so large on this river here. So, regardless, I fold, he doesn't show his hands, and we are moving on. Here we are with ace 9 of spades in the +1. I know it's not called +1, but that's how I have it written out. I opened it up to $12, and we get action as only the big blind makes the call. Going to a flop, which comes 7-3-3 rainbow. It's a decent flop for us to protect ace high against the big blind super wide range, I'd assume. So when he checks to us, I just bet $10. Why not go for it? Bet $10, protect ace high. He makes the call. Turn comes the queen of spades. This is really great as we are improved to the nut flush draw along with 1 over. So now when he checks to us improved, I'm going to size up just a little bit to $30. Surprisingly now, he goes for the check raise to $80. Well, I really can't fold here for only $50 more. He potentially has Queen X. Sometimes he has trip threes, but regardless, with my nut flush draw, even on a paired board, I make the call for $50 extra. Going to a river, hoping to see a black card, it comes the Deuce of Spades, beautiful. Nut flush draw, here we go, and even better news, he bets out $150. Awesome. How can we get more money in here, since assuming that we're not up against the boat, we're going to have to go for it with our nut flush. I only have about $350 total in my stack here at this point, since I did lose a few hands earlier. So we decided to just go ahead and rip it all in for only $200 more. He thinks out loud and says that there's just no way that I have him beat here. So when he says that, it really does seem like I do, since he doesn't have a boat and he didn't snap call. He thinks about it for a little bit more and ends up laying it down, saying he had a 3. So nice fold, Sobi. You watched the channel, so shout out to you. It was really nice playing with you this day. Hand after this, pocket 10s in the cutoff. We're playing 5-handed. I opened it up to $12. The big blind makes the call for 12, so once again playing into the big blind. Let's go to a flop, which comes King Deuce 4 Rainbow. He checks to us, and with pocket 10s with second pair here, certainly just gonna have to c-bet and just try to get some value. I bet $10 and he makes the call. Off to a turn, which comes the 8 of diamonds, brings in the backdoor flush draw, and when he checks to us here, I'm actually gonna play this a little bit tricky. Certainly don't think I can get 2 streets of value with pocket 10s here on this board, so we decided to just check it back. The river comes in 9, not a card that we're necessarily too concerned about unless we're up against King 9 or 8-9. Regardless, when he checks to us, certainly have to go for value on this river spot here, so I throw in a bet of $20. He now snap check raises us to 200. Snap check raise to $200, and I'm confused. I think this is just gonna be an absolute clear snap fold all the time. But I started thinking about it. But realistically, what kind of hands can he be holding here? I think about the value hand, and I think all of the 2-pair combos make sense, since the big blinds can certainly have a much more wide and uncapped range. So it seems like a hand like 8 deuce suited or 8 deuce off, 9 deuce suited, even those hands can certainly be in there. Hands that are trying to bluff here could be just Queen Jack, Queen 10. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, we ended up just making the clear fold. He was nice enough to show us his hand, pocket deuces for bottom set. So trying to go for the max value there made a lot of sense, since all I had was a bluff catcher and I wasn't going to call a normal size raise. Okay, another great hand, ace queen of clubs in the small blind. We have an ungun player who opens it up to $15. Next player to act makes the call, and it folds to me. Playing 5-handed, ace queen suited, certainly a premium, certainly a hand that we want to get more money involved in, so we 3-bet on the larger side to $70. We get the unleashed player to make the call, and we're going heads up to a flop. The flop comes 8-7 deuce rainbow. There's one club out there, we've got 2 overs, backdoor flush draw. We don't always have to bet here, and I think he can have a lot of hands that I'm ahead of. So with that said, I decided to just check here with ace queen high. Now he throws out a bet of $75, and when I checked it here on this flop, I certainly didn't plan on folding just yet. Like I said, we have a decent amount going for us, and he certainly can be missing a lot as well. He can bet a lot of draws, he can have a lot of air. Jack 10 definitely can bet here, obviously 10-9, all those hands like that. Also, obviously, he can have a ton of overpairs, but we can certainly improve, so we'll see a turn. I make the call, and the turn comes a deuce. This is a pretty darn good card for an overpair if he has one with the board pairing. Also, I expect him to continue bluffing here as well a decent amount of the time, since this is a good card for overpairs. I check, expecting him to fire out again, but surprisingly, he checks it back. So we're off to a river. The river is a queen, amazing. We river top now, and here I'm pretty confident that I have the best hand by far. Here, I have a decision point to either go for value or check to induce a bluff. I'm leaning towards checking here to induce, since he did check back the turn, and I think the hands that check back the turn will just have total air here. So I check, hoping he has air and can try to take a stab at it with this Broadway river, but unfortunately, he quickly checks it back. We show our hand, and we take it down. Last hand of the session, here we go. Queen 8 of diamonds in the cutoff. Folds to me, and this is going to be part of my cutoff opening range. So I opened it up to $12. We go 3 ways to it, as both the small blind and big blind make the call. Flop comes 8, 7, 5, 2 spades. Checks to me, and I have a clear c-bet with top pair. So many draws out there available with the small blind and big blind ranges, so I c-bet $25. Only the small blind makes the call, big blind gets out of the way, and we're off to a turn. Turn is the jack of clubs. Once again, he checks to us, and this is a pretty easy check back spot with the over coming on the turn. Certainly really can't get too much value unless he has some sort of 6x holding or whatever it may be. So I just check it back, and we're off to a river. The river is the 3 of hearts, and once again, he checks to us. With a pair of 8s, with the line that I've taken, I think I can bet a little bit bigger to target bluff catchers. Since my line certainly doesn't really represent too many bluffs and more so a missed draw, I think I should go for thin value here and bet with our 8. I size to $60, hoping to get some money out there. He thinks about it and tanks for a little bit before putting in the call. We show our hand with a pair of 8s and the queen kicker. We take it down. So quick in and out session here. We got out of here real quick. First hour of the session is where we picked up all that action, and then after that, not really a whole lot. That last hour and a half, it seemed like I was actually just bleeding away chips, which is not great. Not great. Just kept bleeding chips little by little there. So I lost like at least $100. But anyways, I played for about 3.5 hours. Like I said, quick in and out session. And we were in the game for 500, out of the game for 789. So pretty good day overall. I mean, 3 hours, and I made $289. So not too shabby there. I mean, overall, I mean, things have been going really smoothly so far. I think just in August, my small sample size, that hourly is ridiculously high, way too high, not sustainable at all. And we somehow just keep winning. It's really interesting how we keep having winning sessions and keep doing well. So we're gonna ride this out for as long as possible. Hopefully this just goes on like forever, but definitely a downswing is coming soon. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.